Hello and welcome to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast with your host, Kimberly Dunn of Idlewild Horsemanship and Mindset Coaching. This podcast is here to bring you the very best in tips, tricks, and advice to help you better understand yourself, your mindset, and your horse, because your horsemanship starts with you. Let's go. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast. As always, I'm delighted to have you here. I hope you've had a great week. Those of you that are in the UK listening, as I record this on Wednesday, we have had actual rain. Who knew that in the UK we could have a summer where we are thankful for a bit of rain? Absolutely crackers. And if you're listening elsewhere in the world, I hope the weather is good with you too. These British people, us Brits, we are obsessed with weather. Okay, so aside from the weather, what am I diving into today? So, today I want to talk about my own personal relationship with confidence and my own quote unquote journey with confidence, because I think it's easy for me to forget how relevant it is because of the world kind of that I live in now and the way I look at things. I've almost forgotten that I used to be in a place where I was anxious all the time. I was worried all the time. I really deeply was concerned about what other people and horses thought of me. I held myself back in so many ways. When I would compete, I would have really bad nerves. Um, there's so many things that have changed, and it's easy for me to have forgotten that at the point that I'm at now. Um, and so I wanted to share it with you today to just show the turnaround that's happened as a result of the work that I have done. Um, in the hope that you, if you are struggling with your own confidence, you feel held back, or you feel anxious, or anything could be going on for you right now. I hope that you find this story relatable and it gives you hope that actually these things change, growth happens, periods of difficulty are always temporary, and you can find your own confidence. You can connect to that. You can believe in yourself. You can feel worthy of things. You can recognize your own self worth and not be a doormat. Um, yeah. So let's get into it. Um, so I did not start out as a confident person. Um, and I struggled with horses when I first got into horses. So I was what I would consider a late starter with horses. I didn't start riding until regularly until I was about 17. So I always, even from the beginning, felt like I was behind because, I was surrounded with all these people that had been riding since they were two. Um, and so, yeah, straight away, I kind of felt like I was on the back foot there. I found horses at a time in my life where I was struggling. I had other things that had been going on, and I got into horses. I found peace and refuge with them, and I had always loved horses anyway. Um, but now I was finally kind of in the world. It all became quite intense quite quickly for me. I very quickly was like going a couple of times a week to the yard, started working there, threw myself in at the deep end. Um, Learned a lot of things the hard way, but I was just so hungry to learn, to do as much as I possibly could. I just wanted to be around the horses. I wouldn't say that I had the most conventional beginning with horses because the place that I went to at the beginning, while it was technically a riding school, they also had a lot of they used to deal horses quite a bit. So we would have a lot of ex like, race horses straight off the track and different horses that had been bought at sales. um, and so a lot of the horses that I ended up riding weren't suitable for my ability, and I was winging it. And so as a result, I ended up, having quite a few falls, getting injured quite a bit. Um, I wouldn't say that I basically um, learnt things kind of through like by the seat of my pants. Um, was winging it really. There were yeah. Anyway, so then as time went on and I started working at different places and kind of going a bit down, I worked as a working pupil, kind of chasing the old BHS dream of being an AI. So British Horse Society for people that aren't in the UK, and then AI would be was it AI? Um, Basically to be a BHS instructor, British Horse Society instructor, which is this is the route that most horse people go down if they want to be in horses as a career. Is they'll be like a working pupil, or they'll go to a horsey college, or any of those things. Anyway, so um, still, like even at this working pupil place that I was at, felt behind. I felt like I was a late starter. I felt like I was bottom of the class. Everyone was jumping higher. Um, they were better, riding the nicer horses, blah, 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 blah. And I just felt like I wasn't getting it. Um, and so I really got in my own head. I'm going to talk about like a few occasions where I got in my own head. So this first one with the falling off. So I was really struggling with my written work. So as a working pupil, um, on the yard work, the groom side of things, great. The knowledge side of things, great. All really good. Loved it, thrived, was good. The written work, I was really struggling with. The instructor, when I look back now, I didn't realize it at the time. She just wasn't for me. Her teaching style just wasn't for me. We didn't click together. But I felt like because she was good at what she did, she was successful, that I should be getting it, and I wasn't, and that meant that equal to me being a failure. So that was one narrative that I had going on. Then I had the other narrative going on that I was rubbish because everyone else was better than me, doing better than me, were doing more than me, ridden wise, rode the nicer horses than me because they were capable and I was not. So I had that going on. Um, and I think I had one or two falls. And then that started getting in my head, was that those falls, I was telling myself the story, these falls meant that I was rubbish, that I shouldn't be doing this. My written work was bad, and that meant I wasn't good at this. Maybe I should just give up. And then that cycle started repeating, and I started falling off for the most like ridiculous things. Like a horse would change leads, I would fall off. Like I had no business falling off in some of these situations. But because I had this belief locked in my head that I was rubbish, that I wasn't good enough, that everyone else was better than me, that I was a failure, that I couldn't ride, that I couldn't stay on. It just then, so what happens with beliefs is once they're locked in your mind, it becomes the way you look at the world. I've talked before about the reticular activating system. And so my mind was filtering through any information that matched that belief. And then it starts affecting your actions and your reactions. And so, because in my head, I'm telling myself how rubbish I am, how incapable I am, that's how my body starts reacting. So, a horse does a slight spook, changes leads, breathes in the wrong direction. My body was reacting in the way that it felt that it should be. And so I was bloody falling off. It was nuts, the amount of I was racking them up. And so I was fulfilling my own prophecy about myself. Um, and as time went on, I got to the point where I just felt like I should give up. Like I don't even at this point deserve to be around horses. because I'm harming these horses. These horses hate me. This is the story I was telling myself because I'm so rubbish. It was a pretty rubbish time. Um, but anyway, so that's one example of how I got in my own head, where my thoughts were at, where my self-worth was at, where my confidence was at. It was 0. And also to say that, physically, the feelings that I was having, I started getting like I was tacking up and I would have that knot in my stomach. I would be nervous, I would be tense. I'd have that feeling of like adrenaline in my body before I even got on as I was tacking up because I was scared about what would happen to me because I would just keep falling off. So that's the first kind of way that I got in my own head. And that's another example of just how powerful the mind can be. Um, either way. I've seen the mind do some incredible, amazing things once, things are rewired. But I've also experienced crazy stuff in the wrong direction when things aren't so good. So the other example I wanted to talk about is later on in my career. So I got into just as kind of I was making the decision I was going to give it all up and do something else. No idea what that was going to be. I got into Western riding and started working at a Western riding centre that did competitions and training and all kinds of cool stuff. And that changed everything for me. Under different instruction, with different horses, totally different discipline, totally different way of riding. It just suited me a lot better. And suddenly I started making real progress and really, really started. Things were moving up for me and getting better. Anyway, so a couple of years down the line, I was showing and I was really, really lucky. I'd been given the most incredible horse to ride. Um, and we were successful. Like we were going out, we were winning classes. Um, I was loving it. We were beating other trainers. It was going well. And up to this point, I hadn't let anyone, any of my family or friends, come and see me show. And I finally agreed to let one of my friends come and watch. And I didn't see it then, but I see it now as to what effect that had on me. Because I look back now and I remember that this friend was one that had been with me with horses since the beginning, and she'd seen me, struggle, fall off, all the rest of it. And I kind of felt like in my head, and this is one of the reasons why I said, yeah, okay, you can come. It's almost like I had something to prove because my friend had seen me, struggling. And now look at me. I'm out showing. I'm winning classes. Like, this is a success. I'm a success now. Anyway, so off I go into the arena to do my class. So this was the discipline of reining. So for those of you that don't ride Western, reining was a really, really fun discipline that I used to absolutely love. Um, Similar to dressage in that you have to complete a test, or it's referred to as a pattern. You have a set number of maneuvers that you have to do in a certain way. The horse has to be willingly guided throughout. So you have a loose rein, you're guiding them. It has things like spins, lead changes, fast to slow, um, canter circles, a sliding stop. I might have missed something out there, but anyway, it's a lot of fun. And so I got into the arena, went to do my first set of spins, and as I was doing my spins, I suddenly couldn't remember how many I'd done. Totally went out of my mind. And so I overspan. I added an extra one just for good luck. Did the rest of the pattern, all went great. Um, Got to the end of the pattern, and I was zeroed because I'd gone off pattern because I'd done too many spins. So felt a bit rubbish about that. Made it all about me, which it was about me, to be fair. The horse was fine. Um, and felt embarrassed because my friend is there to see me being successful, and here I am zeroing. Like, yeah, felt a bit rubbish. Um, and then after that, I started getting in my own head. I started feeling again like I was a failure. I wasn't any good. Anything that I'd been successful in, competing wise, up to now, like that was all a fluke. And I didn't deserve to be there. Everyone else was better than me. All of that stuff started coming back up again. And then what started happening, and it was actually crazy, every flipping class I did after that, I went off pattern. I was doing too many spins, not enough spins. I was doing even too many blooming slow to fast circles. I just could not get my head in the game. And this went on for a couple of shows. This was not just one show. It became a whole thing. And I used to get so upset about it. I remember I would zero and then I would come out of the arena and I would just want to cry. Sometimes I did just cry because I felt like such a failure. I felt like there was something wrong with me. Like I was letting everyone down, my trainer, the person that owned the horse. I felt like everyone was watching me, seeing how I'd failed. It felt really humiliating. And I had this opportunity that I was wasting because I wasn't good enough. And it was a whole thing, got in my head. I started feeling like I stopped enjoying the feeling of showing. I used to love the feeling of showing. It was never a problem. I would get in that arena, I would get straight away in the zone with the horse. You know, I would have that partnership with the horse and it would just be us in that moment. It didn't matter who was there, it didn't matter who was watching. We were in the zone. I was focused. I had every part of that pattern in my head. And we would go from, I'd be like, right, okay, this is how many spins we do. Right, okay, now we're going to go off on the left lead in a fast circle. Now we're going to do a lead change. Right, this leg needs to go here. This leg, and it would just all be so smooth, like just tick, 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 tick through the pattern. And I'd get to the end, and it would just have been the best feeling. And I had gone from that to riding around in the warm up, having that knot in my stomach, not being able to breathe properly, feeling like the adrenaline in my body, feeling like almost like my hands were going to start shaking. Before I'd get on, I'd have had to go to the toilet 65 times. It was a whole thing, and then I'd get in there and I'd zero, and then I'd come out and I'd cry, and it was grim. But that again was all in my head. I had the ability, I had the skills, I had the past experience showing me that I'd done it. I had a horse who was more than capable, who was skilled, who was great. But my head was stopping me because I had started telling myself the story that, yeah, I wasn't any good at this. It was rejecting all the past experience because I was rejecting it. And it was only taking in the information that I allowed it to because it matched the belief I had that I wasn't good enough. I shouldn't be there. I was rubbish. And so, yet again, that is how powerful your brain can be. If I could go back now, things would be very different. If I could go back now to that scenario, or let's say I was my own client, I would look, first of all, at nervous system regulation so that in that arena, I was able to install calm. I would work on the limiting beliefs that I had, which were I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be here. This is all a fluke. I'm not capable. I'd work on that. I'd then look at taking off outside pressures that I was putting myself. All of that worry about what other people were thinking of me, what the horse's owner was thinking of me. what the judges were thinking of me, what my trainer was thinking of me, what everyone else in the warm up pen when I came out of the arena was thinking of me, what everyone in the arena watching when I zeroed yet again was thinking of me, my colleagues, my boss, all of them. All of that weight, all of that worry was adding to it. This is all of my own making, by the way. This wasn't like people weren't saying to me, "You're shit, you're rubbish, you shouldn't be doing this." This was all me. And so if I was my client back then, I'd work on that and untangling all of that, removing all of that. And then I would give myself a few recordings. I'd give myself a hypnotherapy recording, a visualization recording of me getting the pattern back, um, a nervous system regulation recording, an EFT, and I'd send myself away and watch myself go and get back in the groove again. I wish I could go back to my younger self when I was competing then, because I know things would be very different. I wish I could go back to that version of me that was falling off and could not stop. Could not stop falling off, and share what I know now, work with my younger self and share what I know now. But that's not the way it goes. And actually, both of those experiences where my mind got the better of me have taught me so much. And those experiences and so many more in my life have brought me to how I work today, why I work today. And it's knowing those feelings and knowing how that can be turned around that make me so passionate about helping others do the same. Because I know how it feels. I know how it feels to feel like a failure. I know how it feels to feel so frustrated at yourself that you just cannot get it right. I know how it feels to be worrying about what everybody else thinks, even what your horse thinks. I used to worry that all the frigging horses hated me because I didn't deserve to be around them. It's quite nuts. Anyway, so how did I start to turn this around? So, obviously, over the years, I have traveled around the world. I've worked with so many different horse trainers, all incredible horse trainers. I've learnt so much. I've honed my skills, horsemanship, ground work, ridden work, problem solving, liberty, trick training, all of that stuff. And I have given myself the knowledge and skills to understand what to do in different situations where I might not feel confident with a horse. So that's the first thing, is that knowledge and skill to know what to do, because that, with confidence, is kind of one of the first things you come up against, is when you don't know what to do, makes you feel vulnerable, like you don't have a plan. And that's where the fear can come in. So I've covered all of that for myself. Number two, obviously, all of these things that came up for me, all of this worry about other people, my self worth, my lack of self worth, um, my lack of belief in myself, all of that stuff, that came from quite a few things at different points. So went for counseling, learnt, like, got heavily into self development, self growth through various different avenues. Went myself to a hypnotherapist, and that totally turned things around for me. And then I started investigating doing that for myself, because already I had found in teaching over the years, coaching with horses, I had an affinity for helping people that weren't confident, because I know how it feels, because I'd been there. And so it was a very natural progression for me to go down that avenue and to really start looking at, okay, so what happens in the mind here? Like, why is this happening and how can I help people on an even deeper level? And then as I got into heading kind of down a horse trainer route and helping people with their horses, the more I was seeing that, these quote unquote problem horses were actually a result of the human struggling with something. And so again, I was like, I need to be helping the humans as well as the horses here on a deeper level. Because, like, in a lesson, it's a bit more surface level. You're dealing with what you have in the moment. But if you really start to dive into the mindset side of things, You can really kind of dig up things and do the work so that you have a much more solid foundation for your partnership with your horse. And as I learned more and more about this, as I started working towards my qualifications in hypnotherapy and NLP and the mind coaching and everything else, it just all became so much clearer for me because in doing all of that work, I did much more work on myself too. Through the training, you work with your peers, and so you cover so many things. I learned so much more about myself and the way I operate, which then has enabled me to help so many other equestrians with that too. So, all of that is to say, that's why I do what I do now. And that's why I created the Enlightened Equestrian program because I wanted to combine all of that, all of those years of experience um, and education and skills, all of that stuff. I wanted to condense down into something that I could use to totally change everyone else's experience too. And the program is condensed into 3 months. And that's like 10, 15 years worth of experience condensed down into 12 weeks for everyone who does the program. Not only that, I think I totted up at some point in a past launch, like how much money I had invested in myself and my own qualifications, experience, knowledge, etc. And it was like between 20 to £25,000 when I looked at how much I spent on flights, courses, qualifications, uh, lodgings, all of that stuff, lessons, clinics. That's how much money I spent on it. So when you look then at this is why I don't own my own house yet, guys. um, so when you look at like the investment in the program and the time in the program, that's all squeezed down into this potent um, bargain, considering the transformation you get uh, of a program. And this program is made with so much love and so much intention for every single participant because I know, I know what it feels like to feel stuck, frustrated, to feel at rock bottom, to feel not good enough. And I also know how it feels to get onto the other side of that, to be able to believe in myself, to be able to zoom out of situations and help myself through them, to be able to regulate myself and regulate the horse I'm working with so that we can make progress, to no longer feel stuck, to no longer feel lost, to no longer be crippled with worry about what everybody else thinks of me. Because I know I am enough. I know I'm worthy to be doing what I'm doing. I know that I've got this and that I can do it one way or another. I will make it happen. And going from feeling, like I said at the beginning, to feeling like that now is such a shift. And it's a shift that not only affects my time with horses, but affects the rest of my life. And it is so worth it. Like I'm so glad that I've experienced everything that I've experienced that was negative because it's taken me to where I am now. It's given me that passion and that desire to help people do the same. So, yeah. And also just to say regarding confidence as well. I've spoken about this a few times in the last week. I just want to say it again. So many people are striving to feel confident, this word, confidence. But confidence is something that you can, like, it feels different to everyone. And it doesn't have to be. this like lofty thing that's kind of on a pedestal that you can't have, that other people have that you can't have. I used to think that too. Confidence can just mean having that self faith, having that self belief that you've got this, you're going to be okay. And it's that calm knowing that you've got this, that you can go and do that thing, that you can, like, I don't know, book into a clinic, book into a competition, um, make a plan with a friend to meet up for a hack somewhere you haven't been before. And you can do it, feel calm about it. You can feel excited about it. It's the absence of nerves. It's the absence of doubt. It's the ability to know that if that does pop up, if a challenge pops up, if a flicker of doubt, if a flicker of anxiety pops up, you can overcome that because you know you're going to be okay on the other side. For me, that's what confidence is, and that's what I strive to help people find. So there we are. On that note, before I finish, the program is now enrolling. So the Enlightened Equestrian program is now enrolling. So the program that I've just been referring to as an opportunity to work with me for 12 weeks. Every year, I run group cohorts of the program twice. And this September will be the second cohort. I won't be running another one till next spring. I have 16 spots available. The group cohort is great because it's a slightly lower investment point. There's always payment plans, by the way, for everyone. So if you want to ask about that, send me a message. Try and make it as accessible as I can. But basically, you work with me for 3 weeks. You will have support. You will have accountability. You will have calls once a week where we will talk all things mindset. We'll use hypnotherapy, NLP to totally shift your mindset. You have an online curriculum to follow that's all things horsemanship so that you can truly connect with yourself and your horse and that partnership together. It's designed to take you from feeling stuck, frustrated, anxious, all the horrible things, to feeling like you can do anything with your horse, to feeling excited about your time together, to booking the things, to going out with your friends, to just enjoying your horse again in 3 weeks. It has everything you need to do that. And I'd love to have you on board. So if it sounds like it's for you and you want to find out more, just email me directly at info@idlewildhorsemanship.com, slide into my DMs on social media, or click the link to take you to the website page to find out more. And that's all from me. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed my little story time today, and I'll see you again next week.